I stand for my people, for our children's future, not for the approval of foreign powers. Africa will protect itself, and we will not ask permission to do so.
In just 48 hours, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a determined leader from Burkina Faso, achieved what decades of international efforts had failed to accomplish. He led an operation that dismantled the largest synthetic drug network ever discovered in the Sahel, a vast and unstable region across West Africa. This was not simply a drug seizure. It was a bold statement that Africa can protect itself, relying on its own strength, intelligence, and determination, without seeking permission from powerful nations. It was a story of courage, African innovation, and unprecedented unity. The operation exposed a hidden web of deception, linking the dusty roads of Burkina Faso to the polished boardrooms of Europe, revealing how systems meant to aid Africa had been twisted to harm its people. The story began in the quiet early hours of the morning in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's capital. At 2:12 a.m., an encrypted call reached the Sahel Regional Command Terminal, a key security hub monitoring West Africa. The urgent message came from Gao, Mali, warning of a suspicious convoy moving through the night. The trucks had no license plates, no transponder signals, no clear identification, yet moved with confidence, as if protected by unseen powers. Even stranger, they bore logos of European aid organizations, including one called Agro-Sahel International, a company long defunct. In West Africa, such logos are rarely questioned. Trucks marked as aid vehicles are assumed to carry food, medicine, or supplies for communities in need. But Captain Traoré sensed something was terribly wrong. The convoy was traveling along an old petroleum transport route, long abandoned since French forces scaled back their operations. Why would an aid convoy use this forgotten road? And why move only at night, when oversight was weakest? Burkina Faso's military deployed infrared drones with advanced thermal cameras, tracking the convoy across the dark Sahel. What they saw sent a chill through the command center. The truck containers emitted heat far beyond what seeds or fertilizer could produce. Something dangerous was inside. Traoré didn't act rashly. He ordered continued surveillance, but no interception, not until the trucks crossed into Burkina Faso's sovereign territory. It was a high-risk gamble, but a calculated one. At 6:03 a.m., the lead truck entered Burkina Faso. Immediately, Captain Traoré ordered a complete 6-hour lockdown of the northern border. Every checkpoint, every crossing, every dirt path was sealed, a historic act of sovereignty, carried out without asking permission from any foreign power. Calls flooded in from foreign advisors, EU officials, and UN monitors, demanding explanations. Captain Traoré ignored them all, sending a clear message. This was Burkina Faso's land, and he was in command. For decades, African nations had been pressured to follow rules made elsewhere, rules that often put foreign interests above African safety. Traoré broke that pattern, inspiring a continent tired of being told what it could and could not do. This was not a foreign-led mission. It was powered by African expertise. Engineers and digital forensics experts from Ghana worked with Burkina Faso to rebuild its defense command, developing AI algorithms, terrain mapping tools, and tracking systems, all made in Africa for Africa. The AI revealed this was not the first convoy. At least 3 others had taken nearly the same route in the past year, disappearing without inspection. How many dangerous shipments had crossed Africa under the guise of aid? The answer was both shocking and enraging. At 7:46 p.m., near the town of Gorom Gorom, the convoy was finally intercepted. Using precision tools, the team opened the containers, revealing 10 tons of pure methamphetamine, valued at nearly $90 million in Europe. As the team secured the cargo, two high-altitude drones appeared above, matching designs used by European defense contractors. Someone powerful had been watching, perhaps even protecting, this deadly shipment. Forensic experts traced QR codes on the containers to shipments that had passed through Nigerian and Beninese ports, allegedly destined for European labs. But the documentation was fake, approved by shadow companies linked to a Belgian pharmaceutical conglomerate with a history of export violations. The deeper they dug, the clearer it became. This was no isolated crime. Aid programs meant to help Africa had been turned into channels for smuggling poison into its communities, hidden behind humanitarian labels. Captain Traoré refused secret deals or private negotiations. He released the evidence publicly, letting the world see the truth. Independent African fact-checkers verified every document, and for once, the continent spoke with one voice. But Western media twisted the narrative, framing it as a diplomatic incident, calling the cargo medical supplies, avoiding the word drugs. Yet Africa stood firm. Leaders from Ghana, Mali, Nigeria, Algeria, and beyond praised Traoré's courage. Africa responded with action. Nations shared technology, legal teams, and resources. Plans were made for new scanning stations, open cargo ledgers, and continent-wide security systems. For the first time, African nations were building defenses together for their own people. Burkina Faso launched Operation Sahara Sands, Clean Corridor, a program to scan every shipment crossing its borders, no matter who sends it. No more free passes for foreign aid convoys. Safety would come first. Interpol signed a 5-year data-sharing deal. ECOWAS members allocated funds for border security. Nigeria, Chad, Algeria, and others contributed drones, satellite links, and logistics. Africa was rewriting the rules of its own defense. But beyond the politics and technology, this was about people. Families losing loved ones to drugs smuggled in under false pretenses. Communities poisoned while the world claimed Africa lacked the tools to protect itself. Captain Traoré showed the continent has always had the capacity. It only needed the courage to act. His words still echo. We don't just need freedom. We need clean space for our children to breathe. This was more than a drug bust. It was the start of Africa's awakening. A statement that the continent would no longer wait for permission to defend its future. Burkina Faso, once overlooked, now stands at the center of a movement for sovereignty, dignity, and unity. Africa is writing its own story, bold, unafraid, and determined to rise. The world is finally listening, and there is much more to come.